Welcome to the More to Life podcast. I am your host, Elle Mace, and today we are joined by Rebecca Clinton-Keogh. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Elle.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. A little bit cold, but otherwise good.
We were just talking about this, weren't we, before we got going? We're like, we're so cold, so hot for so long, and now we're complaining about the cold.
Absolutely. We're British. We have to do that.
Yeah, standard. So, Rebecca, you are online fashion influencer and you are also a keen runner, I hear.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'll just give a bit of background to the listeners how we ended up connecting. So we've been following each other for a while, actually.
Yeah.
I really enjoy your account. I absolutely love it. And then we got chatting, didn't we? Because you do a lot of fitness. I noticed that you were a runner. And then we got onto the conversation of the stuff that I do. And you were saying how a lot of it resonates. And then here we are on the More to Life podcast. And we're going to a little bit more about your experience of your relationship to food, body and self.
Yeah. Okay, great. So really, I think for me, it started pretty young. Yeah. I think the first time I thought to myself, I really would like my legs to look a bit thinner. I was about 6 years old. Oh. And I was actually a very thin child when I look back. But I think maybe for me, I'd picked up on my mum's kind of insecurities about herself. And she was quite a young mum. And I think in those days, parents didn't really think about what they were passing down to their children. I think she probably thought, oh, I'm saying about me, I'm not saying it about you. But of course, they didn't realise that you internalise that kind of dialogue. Also, I did a lot of ballet dancing, and weight and body image was very much so important. Teachers stand up straight and pull your tummy in. And it was really quite a big thing at a very young age, that whole weight issues and things.
Is for dancers and even little dancers. They also have to wear costumes, and there's for ballet. My daughter did ballet, and so she had to have the leotard and stuff. And I've worked with so many dancers who said that their difficult relationship with food and body started as soon as they were dancing at, like you say, the age of 5 and 6.
Yeah.
There starts to come that comparison, isn't there? And you could have a really mental healthy teacher who's saying, don't compare and everyone's good in their own way and stuff. Or you might have ones that are literally saying being weight shaming.
Yeah, we would have ballet classes, and I do remember the teachers saying what we should be eating, and don't eat your dessert and have some fruit. And I remember it, and they were part of the class. Yeah, and I don't think anyone thought anything of it at the time and didn't realise that it might potentially be causing issues for people. It definitely did with me, which I think I just carried them really throughout my life. Yeah, and I think for me, when I get stressed, then that's when these issues come back. And for me, around being at university, to leaving and getting my first job, that's when I started to think about restricting food intake, and was partying a lot. And mental health wise, I don't think I was in a very good place looking back. I think I felt like a lot of people do leave university, or how's my life going to be? Don't know how it's all going to pan out. And will I meet someone? Will I get married? What will happen? And I think that caused a lot of issues for me.
Yeah, university is definitely a key point, isn't it? Where people are leaving their homes, sometimes going to the other side of the country.
Yeah.
You've got to socialise, you've got to make new friends, you've got to try and fit in. Also, you've got a lot of work. Some people have a lot of work to do. Some people don't seem to do anything.
Yeah. I was an arts graduate. I did history. I can't remember how many hours of lectures I had, but it wasn't that many.
If I went back to uni, I would do arts.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So you can actually first remember this and recognize it from being like 6, which is just, my daughter's going to turn 6 next month. And then you've obviously identified as well that then it felt a lot harder at university. What sort of happened between the ages of 6 and uni? Did you have this all the way through school, or did it come and go?
Yeah, I think I had. I remember being in my teens, and I think I used to get into that restrict kind of cycle where, I'm not going to eat this bread or whatever. And then, of course, you could think of nothing else but bread and you'd want to eat it. So that disordered eating, basically, that sort of, I could just not eat tomorrow and then I'll be super skinny and then I'll be really happy and my life will be perfect. And of course, it's not. But it's also you're getting yourself into that cycle, which I think is hard to overcome that cycle. And I think I've had several times in my life where this cycle has repeated, where I'm restricting and then you're binging and restricting. And I think the only way of really getting past it is to find your triggers and to slow yourself down and say, I feel like now I need to go to the fridge and just eat something, but I'm not hungry, but I have an emotional hunger that I'm feeding. So what's happened and what is it in me that is making me do this? And then giving yourself the time as well to think, do I really need it? Shall I I tell you what, I'll have a hot drink and then I'll have a think about it. And then if I really want to eat that thing, I'll have it, but I'll have thought about it and I'll really want it, as opposed to just going and doing it without thinking. And then that just leads to something else or something else.
Yeah, absolutely. That mindful, what is my body telling me? Is it telling me I'm hungry? Is it telling me I'm stressed? Touched on stress earlier. Can you see that's one of your triggers?
It's a major trigger for me. And I think because I did also, when my boys were really young, I did my PGCE for primary teaching. And my husband, like I said, I'd just come back to Bath and my husband was still working overseas. So I was doing a PGCE, which is a really massively full-on course, 2 young children on my own, trying to fit in homework. I was literally sometimes I remember getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to try and get my homework done before I had to get them up and go to school. And I was massively stressed that year. It was horrendous. Looking back, and I just had an awful relationship with food. I couldn't exercise as much as I wanted because I just couldn't fit it in with the homework and the boys being so young. Yeah, when I look back at that time, I think, yeah, I wouldn't do that again. Why did I do it to myself? It's almost like I'm one of these people that I can't give up. I can't, because I would give myself a hard time if I'd given up and just said, look, this is too much. I'll wait or do it another time, but carried on. And that was tough. I spent the next year probably recovering while working and recovering from all that, really, and getting back into exercise and trying to be more mindful around food.
Yes. So that year, your relationship to food, it might have been a bit of everything, but how did it appear for you? Was it more restriction or was it more kind of overeating, binge eating, or was it just like the noise of the food?
Yeah, I think it was the noise of the food more than anything. I think there was a lot of restriction. So I would be so busy during the day. And I'm one of these people, when I'm busy, I don't even think about food and I don't feel hungry. And then you come home and you want to eat something, but then you feel really stressed and you think, oh, the boys got their homework done and I've got to do that. And then I've got that essay so I probably wasn't overeating, but I was eating it all in one go. And I was eating it without thinking about it. And I was like, yeah, I've really got to get this done and I'll just grab this and I'll grab that. And it was just that constant feeling of being overwhelmed, basically. And overwhelm's a big thing for me, I think. And I think a lot of my triggers are with that sort of feeling. If I'm stressed or unhappy, if something really bad's happened, I tend to not eat. I can't eat. I lose my appetite. But I think that overwhelm when you've got this to do and that to do, that's a real trigger for me. Yeah.
I can totally resonate with that. Are you somebody as well, though, that brings on all of that stuff to do anyway?
Yeah, I'm always challenging myself. It's just part of my makeup that I have to do new things all the time. I've always been like it. I've changed careers. I've done lots of different things. I've done lots of traveling. I find it hard to just do the same thing all the time. I have to look, what can I do next? What's next? And I'll bite off more than I can chew and it will stress me out. And sometimes I thrive on that, sort of having lots to do. But it's when it tips over into actually too much to do and you need to step back that I have had to work on recognizing that before it destroys me, basically. And it starts to affect my mental health and my attitude to food and body and all of that. Intertwined.
Sounds like that year you actually maybe hit burnout, because if it took a year to recover from that year, then that's signs that you have pushed the limit. And understandably, I think kids are stressful and I think they keep you so busy. But then when you add study on top, I struggle more with kids and studying than I do with more kids and work. Studying for me just adds a whole nother layer of like stress.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're using your brain, which when you have children is already partially with them. It's always going to be with them to some extent, isn't it? So you're needing more space to be able to study than you needed previously, pre-children and pre-adult life, really. I think I can definitely understand how you find studying harder than working, really. And I agree, definitely. That focus that you need to take it in, to keep your brain on track rather than think, oh my goodness, what we're going to put them in their sandwiches? I've got enough bread for tomorrow, or that kind of stuff, which just is always there, really, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And then you get the mum guilt when you have focused on the studying and realise that you forgot your kid's PE kit. And then you're like, I'm a terrible mum.
Oh, mum guilt's the worst. And the children never let you forget. Do you remember that time you forgot my PE kit, or you gave me the wrong PE kit, or you gave me the wrong sandwiches? Or
yeah, because to them it's such a big deal, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Just talking about this whole mum part then, you mentioned you grew up with a mum who actually was focused on her own weight and spoke about it a lot. And maybe that's one part of why you also experienced food and your body in the way that it did. So what other stuff can you recognise from your childhood that contributed to how you felt?
For me, I think the main thing was my parents were very super focused on weight. I think it's their generation that feel like everybody's weight is up for opinion and you must pass on opinions about people's weight. But even to this day, I'll see my dad or something in here, and the first thing he'll say is, oh, you're looking good. Or if he'll say something about weight, he might even not mean it. It will be, oh, you've lost weight, or you're maintaining your weight, or you're waiting. And it's just like, other people's weight is like trying to get across to them. I have actually stepped in when they've probably gone to say things to my children in the past where I've said, we just don't discuss weight. And it's always been like, oh, but I was going to say something nice. But it's actually, the thing about saying something nice is that can backfire as well. Because, oh, you've lost weight, you look good, which then you can start overthinking that. Does that mean I didn't look good before? Or what if I put on weight again? That means I look bad. I think the whole just don't comment on people's weight. If someone has been and they're close to you and they're trying to lose weight, I think it's fine to say you look really good, but I would never say, oh, you've lost weight. I say you look really good. If they said, look, I've been doing this and this and it's okay, that's great, that's working for you, you're just looking, you look great, sort of thing. And I would leave it at that, because I just can't comment on people's weight, because I just know I would just pick apart a comment like that and just overthink it, and it would just become a negative rather than how it was intended, I'm sure.
Really hope you're enjoying the More to Life podcast and all the incredible guests that we have on. We also have plenty of other exciting things happening in 2026. The Elevate Day Wellness Festival is back on June the 12th. We also have a Spanish retreat and another retreat in the beautiful countryside of Devon. If you are interested, simply pop us an email or find us on Instagram at I am Elle Mace to find out more. Yeah, I love your take on this. And I just wish more and more people would, or I hope lots of people listen to this and have that realization. People are obsessed with people's weight. They're obsessed with talking. Before we got on this podcast, I was literally talking to two people about this. Why grandparents or parents and other family members and friends feel the need to comment on kids' weights or people's weights. We've been like fixated on it, but why? We should be talking about their day at school or what they're good at, what they like, what they don't like.
I would say that in the past, there was a lot of adverts on TV, if you remember, for Weight Watchers. It was all calorie counting. It was all, they'd have this processed food, basically, that's only 100 calories. There's probably very little nutrition in it or whatever. That's how things were. If you want to lose weight, you restrict your calories. And that's what we were very much told in the media, I think, until recently. And I have to say, there's a lot of online coaches now that I follow that have a more common sense approach. You should be looking at what's in your food, nutrition wise, and are you getting enough protein? Are you having fiber? Are you getting in fruits and vegetables? It seems like things are tipping to a more healthy attitude. It's like not cutting out food groups, not demonizing carbs, just everything as part of a really balanced diet and having a healthy attitude towards your body and exercise and everything, rather than it being about weight loss. It's about making healthy changes or just living healthier and being aware of what you're putting in your body and what that might do to your body and how it makes you feel.
How it makes you feel. There's definitely a shift going on. There's definitely And I'm noticing that actually a lot of the time it's the online trainers who were saying things like drop 10 kg in 2 months working with me. And then a few years later, they're now saying, actually, we're not going to restrict and we're going to fuel your body for, because I think they've been through it. People are now coming out of their own struggles and realizing that doesn't work. Mentally, it
Yeah.
puts so much stress on you that you end up just losing your mind, becoming unwell. And we are of a generation now where actually we experienced all the diet culture, and
Mm.
hopefully my kids are really little. So I'm hoping that actually 10 years time, they might not, I don't know, who knows, social media, but there's a shift. There's definitely a shift.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that also, obviously, my boys' teenagers, and I think their generation doesn't tend to comment on weight like at mine used to
Yeah.
at that sort of age. Yeah, so I think there's a shift where they don't fat shame and things like that in the way it used to go on. I'd like to think so anyway. So I think that things are maybe changing to some extent, although saying that, we're seeing the rise of the whole skinny culture again coming,
Yeah.
and I've seen a few things come into my feed and I've thought, oh no, here we go again.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. Skinny culture, the skinny jab, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, no, that is another conversation. I'm thinking about that. I think there's a place for them, for people that really, there is an argument for them. I know a couple of people taking them that maybe gained weight through injury, they couldn't exercise, their lifestyles changed, and they need some help to manage that. And I can understand that doing it in a very controlled way. But yeah, with everything, it can obviously has the potential to get out of hand, and you've got people taking it just to become skinny and just not to, because they are not putting in the work to do it naturally. And then that's where the issues start.
It's created so many people buying them off the black market. I know people who are size 8 taking them. I know people size 10.
Really?
Oh, yes. And I know people that have eating disorders who are taking them, but they're buying
Yeah.
it on the black market, and people are so vulnerable. And the more people are taking them, and the more people are, I don't know if you saw Serena Williams, she announced that she was taking them. And now it's a bit like, okay, if she's doing it, maybe I should do it. But then how's they get hold of them? And they're buying God knows what, to be honest.
Yeah, but I guess it was the same as people used to take slimming pills, didn't they? Which were probably amphetamines and things like that based anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a similar thing, which it seems like people want a quick fix. They either can't get thin enough, but things like if it's done for the wrong reasons, it's going to backfire at some point because you can't take them long term if your body doesn't need them without them having some sort of effect on your health. And without really putting in the work is in terms of knowing what's going inside you and mindfully doing things, then it's just going to go back to what it was or get out of hand again. And yeah.
When did you have your shift in your head of actually, this isn't right, and I
Mhm.
have a healthy relationship with food?
Yeah, so I think after the whole PGCE thing and that year, I started to really think about my mindset and mindfulness around food more. Even little things like, you must know this, when you're preparing food for children and things like that, it's easy just to grab something yourself and you just stood up and you're in the kitchen. Whereas I said to myself, no, I'm going to sit down and make sure that when I eat, I'm going to be sat down and present, as opposed to just trying to grab something before the school run or something like that. I'm going to be more mindful about it and think about it, and I'm going to take my time and enjoy it. And I think I put in little things like that. I also made sure I talked to myself, which is a big thing for me because I can be, like anyone, I'm sure, quite self-critical. And you can look in the mirror and think, put on a couple of pounds, and you want to say something nasty to yourself, but actually turn it around and say something like, oh yeah, I'm a bit more feminine looking at the moment, and pick something good out about you. Because I fully believe that actually if you want to make changes, making yourself feel bad about yourself is not going to help you make those changes. Generally, people that are feeling good and positive are able to put changes in place if they want to. So yeah, it's that kind of being good to myself.
Yeah. Well,
And
like,
being nice and kind. You
yeah,
know, if I would say to someone else, so why would I say it to myself?
yeah. And you're in your disordered eating parts, you would have been really mean to yourself. And that obviously didn't
Yeah.
work because it didn't make you feel good about yourself, didn't get you to a goal. And that's another thing I'm seeing a lot in the kind of toxic fitness side is People being like, get up, get out of bed, like no excuses. And it's like,
Yeah.
you can't scaremonger yourself into achieving what you want to achieve. Like, it's got to come from compassion. So you had that shift of, if I look in the mirror and feel like I'm bigger, going and starving myself or being mean to myself isn't gonna achieve anything. Actually, just looking at myself and being like, you're a busy person. You're doing so much.
Yeah.
Well done for everything you do, and just shifting away from even the thought about the £2 or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's the whole mindset and knowing that actually it is very much a mind game, I think. It's a bit like exercise and going for a run when it's freezing cold in the morning. You have to, it's that, oh, it'd be so easy just to skip it. It's so cold. But actually, then thinking, I'm going to feel so much better after. I will never regret having gone for that run. Sometimes it does feel like a mind game. Or if you're doing a run and you want it to be a long run and it's, oh, I could just stop now. Sometimes I
Yeah.
just have one of those, actually, I could just stop now. And it's okay, but I could, let's just see if we can go for a little bit longer. You know,
Yeah.
it's a whole mind game thing, isn't it? It's just being present and aware. And it's the balance between being kind to yourself and not pushing yourself too far, which is never good anyway. But also to know that, okay, I could see how it goes for a little bit longer. Let's just see. Yeah. It's a bit like almost that delay when you feel like, oh, I'm really overwhelmed, really overwhelmed. Oh, what's in the fridge? It's that delay between, okay, hold on a minute. I'm just going to make a cup of tea and then I'll see how I feel after that. So it's giving yourself the time and being mindful about it. And
Absolutely. Just giving yourself that minute, even
yeah,
10 seconds of just hold it for 10 seconds. Maybe the
yeah.
feeling will pass, or let's just see if it stays. So I'm interested with the work that you're doing with your online fashion, because that's you, that's your body, that's you obviously have to try on lots of clothes and wear clothes and present them and all the rest of it. How does your body image show up when you're doing your work?
Funny because I think I probably give off the vibes that I'm super confident body wise. It's not that I'm not confident, but I'm not a show offy person. But I think when you're presenting things online, you just give that image that you are super confident about things. I think when I was younger, I would have been just pulling myself apart and, oh, no, you're not going to look good in that. You weigh 1 pound heavier today. So, how, it's the end of the world and you don't do it. Whereas now I'm just, oh, this is me. I'm just showing off something to someone that they might like or whatever. And I take me out of the equation. For me, it's about the clothes. But inevitably, it becomes about you and the clothes. But for me, it's about the clothes, it's about the outfit, it's about the styling. And that's what I focus on. I don't think I have a problem with, I don't think about weight in relation to it. That's quite strange, actually. Considering my past, that's quite an odd thing to say, but I don't take pictures and think, oh, gosh. You should
That's
do
so
losing a stone.
good.
I just don't do that now. So whether that is just because of my journey and I'm now in a better place, I don't know, or whether it just doesn't occur to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe your interests and your kind of values as such has just shifted and rewiring. Maybe that's a muscle that you built with obsessing over looking at pictures of your weight, and you've not grown that muscle for so long or not given it energy. It's not a thought process anymore.
Yeah, I think it must be that. Of course, even with obviously everyone gets online trolls and things, I've not had many about weight. Someone asked me if I was anorexic once, which actually was a huge insult to me, which actually was a massive insult. But I don't tend to take the trolling to heart. I don't know if it's with age. I just feel like I don't actually care what you think of me. It's not about me, it's about the clothes. I don't tend to take things to heart, whereas I think I would have done, 20 years ago. That it would have ended me if someone said something bad to me. But yeah, I don't really care.
Because your
Yeah, whatever.
your self-worth
I
is
think it's
there.
yeah, I think it's healthier. I think you can't really have too much of an online presence if you do take things to heart because people do say stuff all the time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I've seen it destroy some people, actually. I've seen people just be really hurt by it. The way I see it is no one who feels good about themselves is going to say something bad to someone they don't even know online. It says more about them than it does about
Mhm.
you. And yeah, I don't care. They can have their opinion. That's fine. They don't need to share it. But if they've chosen to, it's not going to ruin my day.
I was reading something about trolls, like it almost becomes their hobby. I think often they don't even know what they're writing. They don't actually care. They just have
Mhm.
this hobby of just moving from one person to the other, just criticizing people. Again,
Yeah,
you've said it. Are these people happy people that are doing this? Doubt it very much.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I think that probably this has come with age to me. I think a lot of things have. I think I'm just in a general, and it's not unusual. I think as you get older, you've learned a few lessons and you've worked on yourself. And I think I'm just in a much better place than I was, which is good. I do worry about people of this generation now. And when I see things like the whole skinny thing coming back, that's a real concern because it is a real struggle that's always on someone's mind. They have these body issue, this food and body issue thing. It's always there at work. It's always there. Oh, do these have these trousers fitting? It's always there in the back of your mind. You can be in the middle of a meeting and thinking, oh, did I eat too much? How many calories is that? It's really, I hate to think that people are still doing this. I'd like to think that it was moving in the right direction.
It
I'm
is.
not sure.
And you are so right. Like typically people who struggle with disordered eating, it is very much a thing that is just there all the time in the head. It's the first thing they think about when they wake up. Last thing when they go to bed, was I good today? How did I do? How can I be better tomorrow? And it's not better person or do something kind. It's like better by the value of what they eat or how much or how
Absolutely.
little.
You
Yeah.
were asking me before about a progression, how it progressed through life. And one thing I didn't touch on, I actually left my graduate job for what was supposed to be a year to go off to Dubai and fly for an airline. I ended up staying 5.5 years, but that's another story. But it was great fun and it was great opportunity and to travel and the airline looked after you. However, again, the focus on weight. Now, for to pass your aviation medical, you have to be healthy, and that's fine. I understand that. And to maintain safety on board and to be fit and healthy is important. It's part of your job. However, I think for particular airline at the time, I'm sure it's changed now, they had a focus on how their crew looked and they wanted them all within this mold. And I do remember that once a passenger had flown with a crew member that he found was too big. So he wrote a letter of complaint to the airline. Now, rather than the airline saying, actually, our staff are trained for safety and to for your comfort in the sky and how they look shouldn't really come into that. No, they decided that instead they'd send a copy of this letter to each and every crew member as a warning. And then they said they would be looking out in briefings before flights for people that they felt weren't
Oh my gosh.
looking good. And they would weigh them and ground them.
I cannot take this. I know the airline you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure it's changed now. I see the crew like they're posting stuff online, whereas we were never allowed to talk to the media in those days.
I think they've still got a way to go from
Yeah,
my understanding.
really.
I've heard similar, like, and not to that extent, but being airline for this airline or maybe even another, and they had to have pictures of their face, their hair, and their body. Had to do a full length body photo to make
Yeah.
sure
That's
what's
right. We had to do that, yeah. And then your skirt, yeah, I had to see your legs.
I can't believe they sent this letter to everyone to scare them. This needs to go viral. They need to be
I
taken
know.
down.
I know. It was horrendous. When I think about it now, I just think, oh, that's just awful.
And that
Um,
poor person that was
I know.
shaped like that.
Yeah. And I'd see crew pulled off before the flight to go and be weighed. I mean, honestly. And also, then they decided that yearly you have to update all your safety and your first aid procedures. You have to have tests, whatever. And they decided on that day they'd weigh everyone just to make sure you were. And I knew crew that there was eating disorders were rife anyway. It's just I knew crew that were really in a bad way. But it went against you know, because we had a really good medical facility in the and they'd be saying, don't lose any more weight, don't lose weight. And then you'd be getting the message on, oh, this is great, this is great. No, yeah, we like this and don't put any weight on, you
Oh
know.
my gosh, this is like,
It was hard. You're in your 20s, you're overseas, you haven't got your family around you, you're surrounded by young people and you just eat up messages like that, don't you? And just kind of internalize them and
oh, well, it's so fake, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
they're basically just looking, the airline are looking for the perfect look, and no one's perfect. There isn't
No.
perfect even a thing. Everyone's different and diverse, and that's what's so magical. They're forcing everyone to look a certain way. I know that there was rules on like the lipstick had to be the same color as the nails, and
That's
like
right.
you know,
And the shoes.
shoes.
The hair had to be not a strand out of place.
Gosh, I bet the people who are in management there now look back. Well, I hope so and think, God, we could have got in a lot of trouble.
Absolutely.
Get away with
Yeah,
that.
but at the time we didn't even, no one would think, I'm going to the press for this. This is outrageous. Yeah,
No.
people objected and would say, no, you're not, I'm not being weighed. I'm just not doing it. That's not happening. But no one thought that this was outrageous because I think we were just getting just so much those days. Yeah, you'd hear so much in the media about this celebrity's weight, and it was like everyone commented on weight. Weight was just this huge,
Yeah,
huge thing.
totally. They'll just be shuddering now, won't they? They're like, we used to do that to people. But on a serious note, that would have seriously, seriously screwed with people. I mean, there would have been some really unwell people. I challenge anyone to be put in that scenario and not leave with some sort of complex about weight or their body.
I know. I think most of the crew had it, really, if I'm thinking about it, And also, you had people flying through the night. You'd never really have a
Yeah.
proper night. It wasn't a 9 to 5 job. You'd be all over the place. You'd be on long flights, you'd be on short flights. And it's so easy to kind of forget about eating or not want to eat. Oh, it's the middle of the night. It's actually quite easy to get away with having an eating disorder and you haven't got your family around checking up on you. It's actually an easy thing to do. You'd see loads of crew, you'd see them 1 month, a couple of months later, you'd think, oh my goodness. And they literally have dropped a couple of stone or something, really like, wow. And they didn't need to. It wasn't for health reasons. This is all stuff that's going on. It was, yeah, it's quite, as a place to live, Dubai has always been kind of, it's quite superficial and like they're designer goods and it's all about what you look like. And yeah, so I think that all didn't help either.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Wow. I go on and on about these stories. I don't enjoy hearing them. I feel so awful for the people that went through it, but I also do enjoy hearing them because I'm like, okay, at least we have made progress.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you see, I don't know if it came up in your feed, but Chris Evans, the chat show he used to do sort of in the 90s, the 2000s, early 2000s, and he had Jerry Halliwell on and Victoria Beckham, and he used to weigh them, he used to make them get on the scale. Actually,
he said
that triggered me a lot because I
yeah.
always remember in primary school. Do you remember if you did maths? It was in primary school. They always used to get, a group of you, and you've all got to get on the weighing scale, and it was for statistics. And I remember, and I wasn't a heavy child, but because I'd internalized all those issues already, I remember I used to say, oh, I'm too busy. No, I can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember it. It was like the trauma of someone if I'd been on Chris Evans' show and I had to weigh myself in front of everyone.
Yeah, the weighing in front of people. We had a letter sent out from our school last year saying that children will be weighed because it's part of the government survey. And I just said, you're not weighing my child. Like my child is 5, he's not being weighed. Because she has no awareness of scales because we don't have them. So unless she's spotted them somewhere else, she's got no idea. In fact, the last time she saw scales, she thought it was to measure her feet. If I put her in that environment, she now knows what scales are and she now knows what weight is. And then I'm just going to prevent that as long as possible. Yeah, that Victoria Beckham thing. She was 12 weeks postpartum. It's
Oh my
just,
goodness.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's just, that's awful, isn't it? I think she's definitely someone that has had issues, I would say, or so to some extent. I don't know. She hasn't talked about them. Maybe I've got that wrong, but I would say there's maybe been issues there in the past. But yeah.
I mean, she's obviously got boys as well, but she has her daughter now, and I wonder whether I think with stuff like this, well, you've got to find acceptance and awareness. And the more you talk about it, like I will talk about this openly to my kids when they're old enough about being aware and where I went wrong. And the worst thing you can do is brush it under the carpet and pretend it's not going on.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you. That's your past then as well. So
Yeah.
I've sort of seen things that you've talked about in the past and
yeah. Years of it. Started really young like you, maybe more like 8, 9, maybe 10. And then, around 17 years, just exactly what you're talking about, just like living with it constantly. The voice, the noise, everything was weight related. Like you said about getting on the scales at school, I used to have asthma and I had to asthma checkups and they would weigh me on every checkup. And it was the only thing I worried about. Like to the point where if my parents didn't take me to a checkup, I wouldn't go because I would just the weighing. It was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I mean, I got loads to share. We need a good 12 hours live podcast episode. You have been so fun to chat to. I feel like we could definitely draw out so much more, but we are running out of time. I just wanted to say a really big thank you, because I did ask you to come on the podcast and you were like, maybe. And then I think I asked you again and you're like, yeah, okay, she'd thought about it. And you mentioned before we came on how you haven't really openly spoke about this at all. So you had to take some time to consider coming on and chatting. But I hope it's been okay for you. And I know that people will really enjoy listening to the parts of the story that you have told. So a massive thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. And I hope that people can kind of relate to it and maybe see how I've managed it myself. And also, it's good to know that other people have struggled with similar things as well. But yeah, thanks for having me. It's been interesting. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel getting that out in the open, but actually I feel a lot better for it. So thank you.
Good. Sometimes it's quite therapeutic, isn't it? As long as you don't go too deep, pull up too much, but it can be therapeutic. Where can everyone find you on your social media?
I'm Red Suede Heels on Instagram. I only have Instagram at the moment. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Thanks, Elle.
Okay.
Oh, and you too.
If you enjoyed listening to this episode, then please head over to give us a rating. We would really, really appreciate that. And as a return, send us a screenshot of your rating and we will send you a free 45-minute hypnosis for absolute daily motivation. This is a must listen to every day in order to create your best future self.